Good afternoon. Welcome to our call today and our live today. So again, more opportunity for Q&A, and I hope that you'll jump in and start to have a conversation. Today I wanted to talk about why do women dread menopause? Why do women dread their periods? Why do women dread giving birth? Any any of you resonating with these messages that that um, women are put in front of or surrounded by from the moment that they're born, right? We are struggling with these types of messages that we dread our period, we dread our um, we dread menopause, we dread giving birth, we dread puberty, we dread all the things that have to do with natural woman's cycle. And why is that? So if you're jumping on, say hello in the chat box, let me know where in the world you are, what in the world you're drinking. Hey Vicky, nice to see you here. Hey Natalia Rodriguez, nice to have you here as well. The dread is a feeling for me, especially around my cycle due to pain and other factors. Yes, because even if Natalie, you didn't have pain, or you didn't have chronic illness symptoms, maybe, or just feeling really off when you get your cycle, just the pain from that alone and other symptoms from that alone can be really hard to live with. They're hard to deal with. You have to take yourself out of your life for a little while. You have to pull back. You have to, um, you know, change what you are doing in those days. Hey, Claire, nice to see you here. Hope you got our message. Um, Vicky says, but unknown and mysterious changes. Yes, absolutely. And Gina Rooks, hi, welcome. Terry Johnson, welcome. So it's not just the discomfort that the cycle brings, but it brings so much more up for us. And sometimes it's a little unpredictable. It's like, okay, how am I going to be doing this month? What will I be feeling? How will I be responding? Not exactly. Natalie says, feeling out of control due to my cycle, especially with my emotions. Yes, Ireland Bell, nice to see you here. How are you doing, honey? Um, so all of these aspects of women's health. Hi, Vlada. Hi, Jenny. So nice to see so many of you on here. So many people are struggling with this kind of idea that we are the things that have to do with women's health are to be dreaded, are to be avoided, or they just suck. Even the whole rhetoric out in the world around a woman getting her cycle is men laughing at her, making fun of her. Oh, she's just hormonal. Oh, she's super emotional. Are you on your cycle? Are you about to have your cycle? Are you PMSing? Sort of this like snarkiness that shows up around a woman's cycle. And this snarkiness about women just like like she's just emotional, hormonal. And does that play a role in women not getting raises as many as men do, women not getting paid as much in sports games as much as men do? Where does this play a role? Why are women constantly struggling to feel accepted for who they are and for what their bodies bring by virtue of being a woman? Or do we wonder? Vlada says sometimes it's a little derogatory, if you ask me. Oh, Vlada, what I'm saying is that it's completely and utterly derogatory. There is no, out in the world, there's very little regard for the beauty and the mystery and the power of a woman's body. There's no regard for how much power we have, how much potency we have, that we are the bringers of life. People look at it in terms of, oh, this is going to impact my productivity, or is going to impact revenue, it's going to impact sales. I'm going to be having to pay sick days more. I have to pay for maternity leave more. I mean, don't you think those even though there's laws in the United States that prevent people from taking action based on you being a woman or based on you being pregnant, don't you think that that crosses people's minds? Don't you think that that crosses business owners' minds? Don't you think that it crosses the minds of corporate officers? Of course it does, right? So I just want to like present this because I think it matters, and it's a topic. If you haven't heard of Revival, which is our women's health program, it's not just a birth program, it's a whole women's health program. We plan to keep adding to this program over the years, making it as robust and powerful as it could be, that you can, it's your one-stop shop for all things women issues that you could be asking for. If there's a video in there or a teaching in there that you don't see, ask us. We will create it, because what we're doing is making it as complete as we think is possible. But every time we do that, someone will come back to us and say, oh my gosh, you didn't talk about this, that, and the other. So, like I said, we're pulling it together to bring you a program that is a complete program for women's health, everything from puberty all the way until menopause and beyond. Like, what are the myths? What are the issues? Why and how can women feel more empowered in today's world to speak about their womanhood, to speak about um, how we are supposed to work, and how women can actually be more productive than men can be in a world where that is often looked at, women not being as productive. So we're not um, as prized in the workforce. And I think that that reflects. So, Ireland Bell, so glad to hear that you're doing better. That's amazing. Um, so, how do we not only bring more power to this conversation for women, how do we bring more power to our health so that we don't struggle with symptoms around the time of our womanly cycles? And how do we bridge that gap between what people think they think about us and what we want them to think about us, right? So Debbie Deutsch, hey Debbie, neuropathy is your problem. Not sure what you're doing, but a lot of shingle support is helpful. Plus, a lot of cleansing can be helpful too. Sarah Beth says, my period is 3 days late, but I now have a fever flu for 5 days. Can this delay my period? It sure can. It sure can. Your body sometimes may not have enough energy to give you a period if you're already fighting a viral battle. Ireland says, I'm on my period right now. Dark thoughts and feelings every period, but I've come to see it objectively now because it's out of my control, but has improved as I've healed. I'm so incredibly happy to hear that it's improved. That's amazing. Um, so, Raw Food God says, curious about more details about how Down syndrome occurs in the womb. Down syndrome occurs because heavy metals have the potential to change the way our genes look. Heavy metals. It's rooted in heavy metals. So, how many of you are struggling with some part of your womanhood? Are you struggling with the idea that, am I going to be healthy enough to have children in the future? Am I going to be, what does my fertility even look like? How many of you care about your fertility? Is it important? Let me know. Is it important? I know it's not important to some women, but is it important to you? Drop me a number 1 in the comments if your fertility matters to you, if it's important to you, and then tell me why. Why is it important to you? Um, because fertility isn't just about having a baby. Your fertility, having good fertility, is about being healthy in the place from where you create life. And being so here, Ireland says, okay, so she says, yes, I wonder if I'm healthy enough to have children. Well, Ireland, I would really encourage you to join Revival. Right up here in the corner is the QR code. You can just click on that or tap on it, and it will take you to take you to the program page, and what we're what we're teaching in the program is exactly like our how can you become healthy enough to have children? What do you need to look for? How do we need to consider the health of women, both spiritually and physically, emotionally, mentally, in all of the ways, so that we can bring forth life and raise that life in a way that is according to our free will choice and our intuitive free will choice. And for a valid reason, right, Ireland? Because you said you don't want children to have health problems and you don't want them to go what you have gone through, Ireland. I couldn't agree with you more. My family, my kiddos, when I was pregnant, and my mom was asking me, why are you choosing to do hypnobirthing? She thought I was like not being safe. And I said, because mom, I've had all these health issues. I've been sick my whole life. I don't want to pass on these issues to my children. I said, I know how much I've suffered, and I do not want my children suffering. So I came into understanding my fertility for the exact same reasons that you're stating right now, because doctors had told me that I would not be able to get pregnant. I shouldn't even think about having a family because of all the drugs that I was taking, right? And it was heartbreaking because, like many women, I wanted children, right? And if you're not at the phase of wanting to have children, say you're dealing with other health issues, like if you've got neuropathy, like Debbie Deutsch said, she has neuropathy. Um, and if you have other health issues going on, for sure, those health issues need to be addressed and need to be considered in terms of how are we headed towards a healthy menopause? How do you have health after menopause? How do you have health during the fertile years? Because those are some of the hardest years for women to live through and go through. So how many of you have questions about these topics? So ask me a question. We're doing Q&A. Ask me and drop me a question in the comments and we'll do some Q&A. I've already answered some questions, but bring on more and we'll keep chit-chatting in here. All right, so I am on day 9 of the 369 cleanse. If you're joining me right now, we are talking about why women dread their cycles, why women dread birth, why women dread menopause. Are you in any of those boats? Do you dread any of those times of your life? Let me know in the comments. I got to keep sipping while I chat with you. So, Natalie says, I had an appendectomy in late 2021 and they found lots of fibroids. That can interrupt fertility, right? I do get very painful menstrual cycles. Yes, it can interrupt fertility. It can make it harder to get pregnant. It can make it harder to hold a pregnancy. So it can definitely impact fertility. And you get painful menstrual cycles, and those fibroids might be a reason why. Natalie, we will be covering this in our program in Revival. Are you interested in joining? Are you wanting more support around this? Because we want to help you nail these topics, right? Nail the understanding of your own body, your menstrual cycles. Every woman has a menstrual cycle. And if she doesn't, there's something wrong. If she has too much of a cycle, there's something wrong. There's so much that can go wrong with our cycles that we really, as a starting point, looking at, we look at our basics of our health, like we're looking at our livers, our blood sugar, we're looking at all of these things, but then we also need to look at the reproductive system. Natalie, I'm so happy that you're thinking of joining and being a part of it, because we are really looking to um, deepen women's understandings about their bodies. And it is so potent to, once a woman understands her own body, her understanding of the rest of her life also improves. It shifts. She sees more clearly, because when you deal with the seat of your seat of your creativity, the root of where life is created from, that is one of the most powerful places within any human being. And it's really only within women. So I know that men are also part of creating life, but the woman's womb is probably one of the most special spaces that exists within a human body. And there's so much more to it. Natalie, I'm excited that you're thinking of joining because, yes, fibroids, cysts, ovarian cysts, PCOS, um, endometriosis, some of the more common issues that or impact fertility, PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. There's so many issues that can impact our fertility. And I know the medical profession doesn't quite look at it the same way because they think of these things as very separate things. But when you start to look at it all together, it becomes very potent and powerful and important. And also, we'll be looking at things like how to prevent prolapses and how to deal with um, how to do with strengthening our tissues, strengthening the pelvic floor, how to do exercises to support the pelvic floor. These are so critical and so important. So I really hope that women are getting an idea of what really they will get from this program. So any more questions? I know that it's a little quiet on the Q&A today, but go ahead and ask me questions. It's open to any questions as it always is. So jump in and ask. I'm going to take some sips. And if you've joined and watching and you haven't said anything in the comments, let me know where in the world you are. Let me know what in the world you're drinking. I've got orange juice today. This is my fourth juice on the 369 9-day cleanse. I'm also repeating it. So this is my third repeat that I'm doing today. So yeah, people getting their questions ready. So Jenny says, I think I have all of the symptoms you can get from menopause: low energy, depression, overactive bladder, dry skin, dry mucous membranes, and more. I don't know where to start. I've followed for 3 years. Jenny, first of all, um, low energy is from adrenal fatigue. Depression is from having toxic heavy metals in the brain, having a soul that is so sensitive to and has awareness that there's something wrong in the brain. Overactive bladder comes from having streptococcus, scar tissue. Dry skin is a liver issue. Dry mucous membrane is a liver issue. So none of the symptoms that you've described, Jenny, are symptoms of menopause. Does that make sense? These are not hormonal symptoms in and of themselves. Although one could argue that maybe low energy is hormonal because of low adrenaline, and adrenaline is a hormone. So what we will be covering in the program in depth is understanding what is not a menopause symptom. What truly is menopause? What does it, how can you make sense of menopause? How can you embrace the power of this time of your life? So first of all, you always have to start by dealing with the symptoms. If you don't deal with the symptoms, you'll never find that place of power because you're not well enough to find that place of power. So when you talk about low energy, Jenny, I would start to focus on adrenal support. Look for bringing in the adrenal fight or flight stabilizer shots. Look for bringing in the energy shifter shot. Bring in licorice root. Bring in some ashwagandha. Bring in some vitamin C. So bring in some of these tools. Depression. There's so many things you can do for depression, including heavy metal detox. I know you've been following for 3 years, but I'm wondering how specific your protocols are for dealing with each of the symptoms that you have. And so overactive bladder, you want to focus on strep protocols for this. Dry skin, focus on liver protocols. Now, you can't do all the protocols all at once, all at the same time. So in Revival, we're going to teach you how to focus on different protocols at different times, meaning how do you choose them throughout your fertile journey and beyond fertility? How do you deal with those symptoms? How do you choose the first, the second, the third, etc.? So these are things to consider, Jenny. I hope that my answer helped you and you can get far more support on this in Revival. So please do click on it. Check it out. Let me know what you have, what your thoughts are. Let me know if you have questions. So revival starts next Monday. So I want you to join us. We are giving you Bloom Summit for free. You're getting the Harness Women's Feminine Power Challenge for free, amongst other bonuses as well. So next question is from Marie Lomas. She says, I dream of the day Vimergy makes a raspberry leaf extract tincture. At the moment, only recommends raspberry leaf in tea form, but would nature's answer, red raspberry leaf extract, be okay to consume? And yes, it used to be on the list to consume, but I think they're adding alcohol to it. So that's not helpful. And why don't you write to Vimergy if you'd like them to make a tincture? Instead of just dreaming about it, write to them and ask them, we'd love to have a tincture. Maybe they'll create it. But I will tell you, from what I know from learning about medical medium information, and learning from being a client of medical mediums for many years, that raspberry leaf tea is a better form of the herb than the tincture. So it's the best form anyway. All right. So our next question is from Natalie Rodriguez. She says, what will we get tools to help us heal those issues? Fibroids, fertility issues. Oh, heck yes. You're absolutely getting all the tools. And you have a forum where you can ask any questions you like um, about fertility and women's health. For specific to you, there will be 8 live Q&A calls. Right? There will be 8 live Q&A calls. We'll have a call every week for the topic of the week. So the program is over 8 weeks, week 1 through 8, and then 8 live Q&A calls where you get to submit a question to ask about your specific health issues. My thoughts on IVF is that, first of all, there's a whole section, a whole video that we did on IVF. So we have that included in the program because there are some women who legitimately need IVF because they've tried everything else and it hasn't worked. So we teach you how to use medical medium protocols along with IVF to enhance your fertility and to remove the side effects or poisons from the drugs, from all of that you have to take. So how do you use IVF and medical medium information alongside each other? But yeah, it's on the program, Natalie, so do go check that out. Lisa, welcome. Nice to see you here. You're in California, you finished your heavy metal detox. Love it. Patty says, my daughter doesn't want to change her diet and follow medical medium protocols. Drink heavy metal detox smoothie. She has bad anxiety. Would the supplements still help? The supplements will help. They can make a difference for someone. They can make it so that someone can end up believing that there's help out there. And if it can help her believe that this is actually working for her, then maybe she might be interested in changing her diet. I think, Patty, before we dive into changing our children's diets, we have to educate them. We have to educate them on why it's important to change the diet. We have to educate them on what is needed for dietary shifts, why they're needed, what impact does it have in the body, what is the bang for buck. So, instead of for making her have the heavy metal detox, you could do the deconstructed heavy metal detox. You could just give her the spirulina and barley grass juice powder capsules, make her a blueberry, banana, orange, cilantro smoothie, and you've covered most of your bases. And if you use a liquid dulse, like, you don't have to tell her it's HMDS. You can just tell her this is just a blueberry smoothie and go from there and let her taste it. Make it taste delicious. Put more of the fruit in it. Put honey in it if you have to. But these are ways to get the healing foods into our children without turning them off at all. Yusra Luhi, welcome. You're German but watching from North Africa. Welcome, Yusra. It's really lovely to have you here. Okay, our next question is from Robin Marie, and she says a family member has been having a lot of nausea, was taking celery juice and medical medium tinctures, eating mostly healing foods, but she doesn't think she could keep those foods down right now. She has been sipping on ginger water, eating a little, taking Zofran. She's prone to UTIs, wants to kill strep, is too nauseous for tinctures. So the first thing that you have to do is to reduce the amount of nausea that someone's experiencing. So you go simply And nausea happens for several reasons. One, it could be a food poisoning bug. You don't know until you actually consult, and I can help in a consult if that's needed. Number two is that you have to consider whether it's viral. Could it be coming from the vagus nerve being inflamed? Is it coming from the facial and the sinuses being inflamed? Because there are different reasons why you can get mystery nausea. And then I don't know if the Zofran's helping her. If it's helping her, that's great. Um, but then, eating potatoes, do potatoes make her feel nauseous? Do sweet potatoes make her feel nauseous? Sticking with the foods that she can eat that won't bring on nausea is really important. Okay. Um, so if she wants to kill strep, she can do it with thyme tea. She can do it with turmeric, garlic, ginger shots if she can handle even a teaspoon of that shot and put it under her tongue and spit it out. So there's many ways to do that, Robin Marie. I hope that my answer has been helpful to you. Um, Vicky says, I found MM after menopause and after years of infertility, then had an ovarian cyst afterwards and an ovary removed. Wished my neurological issues would heal. I am praying for you, Vicky, every day that you get better with your neuro symptoms. Linda says, my roommate, 33, had a very heavy bleeding on her last period, ended up in the ER. Any suggestions? Yes, Linda, I would suggest that she focuses on an antiviral protocol. Make sure she works with a practitioner or encourage her to join Revival, or maybe you can join Revival and help her out that way, because people need to learn. People need to be able to learn information that they can trust from people that they trust, right? So if you could help her out with that, she, there's many pieces here. One, you have to look at the viral element. So make sure she's on the right antivirals. Make sure she's on the B12, zinc, micro C lysine, cascal, lemon balm, licorice root as a starting point. Bring in more herbs that support the gut, support the reproductive system, like nettle leaf, right? Um, and then look at her diet. Is she eating foods that are feeding these bugs? Is she on eggs? Is she on dairy? Is she eating gluten? Is she eating eggs and dairy are the worst because they're actually hormonal foods, right? They come from the hormones of another animal. So I would encourage you to look at that, and also um, ping me if you have any questions, or ping me if you have any questions about Revival, because we'd be happy to have you join, because that program is going to go really deep into helping you understand women's health, all of the issues. Why do women get a heavy period? What is really going on at the root of that heavy period? What does she have going on in her life that could be contributing to that? We can talk and do talk all about it. Melody says, I am in month 4 of menopause. I don't think I'm having any issues, but my fibroids were horrible and hopefully my period will not return. I still want to join to learn more. 5 years on MM. I'm so excited to hear that you're going to join. It's going to be amazing. We're really diving in deep. This is going to become one of those programs that we want to keep around for a long time, and we want to keep adding to it and sharing about it, because I think it matters to share this information. It really, really matters. Women, I want women to feel empowered with their bodies and with their womanhood so that they can empower others in their lives. Thanks so much for your comment, Melody. I really appreciate it. Aaron Cook says, I'm Muneeza. How much avocado is appropriate for a 1.5-year-old? Is a full one okay? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, full avocado is fine for a little one. I mean, if she can eat that much, for sure. Patty says, I wish I knew medical medium when my kids were little. Now they're early adults and they don't want to listen. Anxiety, depression, menstrual issues, eczema. I'm one tired mom and I'm a nag. Thanks for your tips. Oh man, mama, I feel you. Whenever we look to change like things in our children's lives, I always start with education. My kids know when I call a family meeting, wonder what mom's going to bring up now, right? So we talk about it, we discuss it, it becomes a family culture. And I think that changing the culture of your family takes time, but it can be done. And that's another thing, Patty, that we're going to talk about in Revival. I think it would be amazing to have you come and join and learn how to bring um, this. How do we change family culture? How do I impact my kids later in life? How do I get them together? How do I have these conversations? How do I get my partner on board? These are such critical conversations that we need to be having as women, because we are the center of our families. We are the spiritual centers, the intuitive centers of our families, right? So don't feel like you don't have options, because we will be talking about this and way more. Melody, you drinking thyme and lime water on day 1 of the liver cleanse. Awesome. I'm on day 9. Um, The Rahu God says, I saw a scam online talking about how they tried celery juice and heavy metal detox, and the fad doctor corrected them and then said they needed 4 Thymol groups to properly take out metals. Yeah, there is a lot of that going on. Serafimo Rama says, how do you best manage big blood sugar imbalances during pregnancy? How much fat is okay if I don't have any or very little, I'm nauseous, and what type of fat is best? Coconut, nuts, and seeds, and avocados are best. So if you need it, do it, right? How to manage big blood sugar imbalances is to actually eat a lot more carbohydrate, because the more carbohydrate you can pack into the liver, the more management tools your body has to manage that blood sugar when it's dipping. If you have a reserve, your body can rely on it. It dips because there's no reserve. Does that help, Seraphim Arama? I don't know if you're interested in joining Revival. We'd love to have you in the program. We'd love to be able to help you specifically being pregnant, because there's a few other considerations when you're pregnant, meaning that you can't rely always on supplements. You can't do too many of those. So the reliance has to be mostly on food, right? So I hope that helps. All right, so any other questions today? So if you have not yet checked it out, please check out Revival. We are sharing, we're sharing Revival. I mean, it's one of our signature programs. It's going to become something that we do, hopefully on an ongoing basis. I'm not sure when we'll do it again, but we want to do it on an ongoing basis. We want to make it available for women, because women's health is critical, right? Women's health is so critical, and so many of us, including men, I think men need to be educated on the fact that women's stuff is not to be poo-pooed, right? Here's the link. You see it on the right hand side of the screen. You see the QR code. You can tap on the QR code and check out the program. Payment plans are available for the program. We'd love to see you in there, because it's going to be something that we are deeply um, invested in. We are investing in it ourselves as a team. Our whole team is invested in this program, because we want to make this, we want women to know how to remain empowered through every part of their journey on womanhood. Empowered for themselves, empowered for their families, empowered for their children, empowered for their partners, their parents, their siblings. It's so important to remain in that empowerment. Um, there's we just posted a link in the chat box. You can click on the link as well to uh, check out the program. Robin Marie says, thank you for doing these Q&A videos. You're most welcome, Robin Marie. I'm so happy to provide this support. Seraphim Arama says, thank you very much. I'm trying to eat as much as I can. I think it's a thing coming from the past. I will check if the program can fit. Check it out. Ask me questions. Absolutely, Seraphim Arama. And Linda says, will this be replayed? Yes, this will be saved. It will be on replay. Your screen froze and you missed out, for sure. Absolutely. It will be on replay. And yeah, check it out. I look forward to seeing more of you on the program. We'll be doing more Q&A lives this week. So join us there. I'm going to go onto Instagram as well and go live there. So check me out there. I'll see you there. Take care, everybody. Bye now.